martial arts should be joining. So let's wait for him and then we'll start. And we'll see. Hopefully, people will join. Hopefully, some of Misner people join in the chat so that we can maybe have a few discussions, but we'll see. We'll talk about random stuff, primarily Kung Fu, but we'll see. We'll wait for him just a moment. I'm going to pin this message. Let's see. All right. Hey.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
How's it
and
going?
welcome to Martial Geeks this time.
Yeah.
But no doubt we'll be doing some indefensing of traditional martial arts. But yeah.
Yeah, but shamefully against traditional martial artists usually.
Oh yeah.
That's one
I
of
love
the
how you.
yeah, well, it's a really weird thing. I set up a channel thinking that I was going to defend traditional martial arts to kind of MMA guys and show them that actually they do have something to offer. But kind of MMA guys, kickboxers, they just kind of go, yeah, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the traditionalists. Traditional martial arts I've found need defending from other traditional martial artists.
Right? Like most MMA people just bite immediately. They're like, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
Most
well,
of them.
they're like, what? Yeah, if you can make it work, you can make it work. Get on with it. It's not as good as MMA. MMA will kick your ass, and you're kind of like, well, yeah, really.
Yeah.
If that's what you concentrate on, I've got no argument with that. Whereas traditional martial artists, every excuse under the table.
Yep.
Oh, it's
Just
different in the street. It's you have to use gloves.
Yeah.
I can't use my techniques in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, I think we got somebody in the chat. And if you hear us, let us know. Is the audio good? Because sometimes we do have audio troubles. So if it says that there is at least one person. There was two people a moment ago. So I'll repeat. If more people join, I'll repeat that just in case, so that we get a confirmation if the sound is good. But I can hear you fine, so I'm guessing it's okay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine as well. So hopefully on my commute home from work, everything will go all right.
What if you get in a street self-defense situation on your way?
I can turn the camera around and we can live stream. I'll go through my eye gouges and throat striking.
Just a random Misnerite appears and tries to throw cheapos at you.
Well, in which case I'll just stand there. It's so funny. Like the challenge that I made for anyone watching, challenge I made was for any UK based in a drivable location.
Don't forget to oil check.
Yeah.
We got Nick in the comments. Let's go.
Yeah, don't forget to oil check. That is definitely an internal martial art. There's nothing more internal than an oil check.
Nothing more internal.
Yeah.
That's legendary.
So yeah, my challenge is to just any UK-based Tai Chi instructor or practitioner that can make me, kind of jump, leap in the air effortlessly. And the amount of people that are crying about it, it's really weird. I'm not saying let's fight. I'm not saying, let's meet for a duel first thing in the morning. It's literally just redo all of these skills I see in your demonstrations in real life. Like, do what I mean?
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah,
No fighting required.
yeah. And yeah, the amount of people that are upset about it, it's truly unbelievable. I would love to know what their real issue with it is. And you get the usual, just turn up, just go to a seminar. And it's like,
Yep. It's always
but
the same.
yeah, but why am
I keep getting those still.
well, it's like, I won't have any proof. And people go, well, why do you need proof? It's like, hello, I run a YouTube channel, but it's the whole point of it.
Yeah. Well,
I
more
don't,
we
but
talk about Myanmar, less of indefensing of traditional martial arts we seem to want to do.
But as I say, that is a defense of the traditional martial arts. In my eyes, like Tai Chi has become
It
this
absolutely
hype.
is. I'm just
Yeah,
joking.
yeah. It's just become such a joke. Tai Chi, the way people view it.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I do so I like Wing Chun and Aikido stuff. It's no surprise. But I feel like Tai Chi, at least at least compared to Wing Chun, it gets even like worse reputation because of all this bullshit. Because
I
like
think,
most in my opinion, most Wing Chun people they just have a problem with not being able to fight.
yeah,
Yeah, but they don't seem to invoke magic powers. They just invoke bad technique and expect it to
there
work.
are there
Right, but
are internal Wing Chun martial artists.
they are. They
Yeah,
certainly are. It's there's a whole like Venn diagram could be made. But at least like
yeah,
bad Wing Chun people that I've talked to seem to be a bit more reasonable than HME Tai Chi guys. Well, a lot more
yeah.
but I feel like Wing Chun is even getting a bit more recognition, I think. Just slightly more than
Well,
Tai
that's
Chi.
because I've covered this on my channel. That's because there's a lot more Wing Chun people going out there and doing it.
Yeah.
And like when I was practicing, very much there was very few Wing Chun practitioners would, enter the Sanchu tournament,
Yeah.
the Chinese full contact tournaments that were going around back then. Whereas there were loads of Tai Chi people. So I don't know what the public reputation was, but certainly in Chinese martial arts, the perception was that Tai Chi was about actually fighting and
Yeah.
Wing Chun was about pat cake. Whereas now, a lot more Wing Chun people are going out and proving what they do. Whereas the Tai Chi guys, and this is the problem with the rise of MMA,
Yeah.
the people that want to fight gravitate towards MMA.
Right.
And
Simple.
what Tai Chi is kind of aimed at is a bunch of fantasists, cosplayers.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite moments on your channel was like one of the first videos I think I checked. I might be wrong, but it was something like, yeah, Tai Chi Chuan is not a martial art. And martial art that's called Extreme Ultimate Fist. You're telling me it's not for martial art? That cracked me up because I never knew exactly what it meant. But like, come on, like even if it didn't hold that name, it's still there's enough like there's enough evidence in history to understand that it is for fighting, that it is martial, which
All
makes
right,
me
what?
just cringe like on the Misner guys, especially with Nick's in comments. He made that like video defense of skeptics and debunkers,
Yeah,
and I made the same short about the same time, and we're thinking the same thing. So many people that defend Misner go, "Oh, but it's not meant for fighting." The fuck it ain't. Like there's
Yeah,
videos where he talks explicitly about fighting, and now
yeah,
even with the name itself, you can't run away from that. It's
no,
supposed to be fighting.
it
Oh, and
is
he also
supposed to
left the
be.
comment. So all martial arts have been getting the watered down treatment. Yeah, karate and kung fu went through it, and now BJJ is going through it as well.
And
It
that
feels
is
that.
so true.
Yeah.
BJJ, haven't been around it. Like, I'm a purple belt, and
Yeah.
a lot of my contemporaries who started the same time as me, because they just concentrated on BJJ, and I did the MMA and BJJ route. A lot of them are
Mm.
brown belts, but a lot of the other purple belts that I see coming up now are awful.
Yeah.
Like, well, not awful. That's unfair.
Yeah,
But
they're hyperbole, but they're worse than purple belts back in the day.
yeah, and the purple belts who were around when I first started, which is about 10 years ago now, purple belt in Tai Chi meant a lot. You know, you could start your own academy with a purple belt in the UK.
Mm. In
Because,
BJJ,
yeah, in BJJ, yeah, because, you know, that was quite a thing to have. And
yeah,
now, like, it just seems you definitely have started to get given belts just for turning up.
yeah,
And that
and
was
then they
never
disappear
supposed to be a
after
thing.
the belt. There's a lot of that as well, like promotion, and then just that's it. Phew, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah. The blue belt, yeah, there's still a blue belt thing where a lot of people get to blue belt and then ditch it. Seems like
Yeah.
I've got to purple belt and then I've ditched it.
Yeah. Oh, give belts, take money, says Nick. Yep, a lot of that happening everywhere.
Yeah,
Like belt, the whole belt idea. We could have a separate like podcast about belts. Is it good? Is it bad? What's good about it? What's negative? Like, there's so much to open up in terms of belts, which is
yeah.
super
I mean,
interesting. But
yeah, I guess, you know, the idea that you can, someone who's a black belt is a certain standard.
yeah,
I guess that's the point of it. But at the same time, it's what I always loved about Tai Chi was that it was a real traditional martial art where you didn't have belts. You know, you were as good as you were. And it's what I love about MMA. And a few people have tried to bring in a belt system for MMA, and it's like,
don't feel like that's
no,
the
yeah,
way. I, I mean, I get the idea behind belts. Obviously, like there is a certain like reward aspect of it, and like if you're truly taking a stand of looking at a belt as a certain standard, and you truly hold on to that and make it consistent, then sure. But just naturally, it will become inconsistent over time. Like it
yeah.
feels like it's an ideal that's impossible to hold on to and keep having the proper function, at least. But that's
Well,
just my thought.
yeah, I mean, it is the issue. You know, like a black belt in karate, once upon a time, you would have been a badass if you had a black belt in karate. Whereas you get a black belt in karate after about 2 years now, you know, in some places. And you could get a black belt without ever even having taken a punch to the face.
Right?
It's,
Yeah.
it's, a, it's
But,
a weird concept. And with jiu-jitsu, yeah, to get promoted through the belts, like even when I started, you know, if you want to get to blue belt, you're looking at about 4 years if you didn't compete. You know, you had to compete
yeah.
and sort of consistently place to go up the next stage.
Right.
Now
Simple
we've
as
got belt, we've got
and
purple belt.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we've got purple belt in my academy that gets
Mhm.
tapped out regularly by white belts. Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to mean something.
And can you imagine, even today, where BJJ belts seem to be the strongest like belts in the terms of like standards, but they're still getting watered down. What does that tell us about other belts in other martial arts that have that system? Like,
Yeah,
if the best ones are getting watered down, holy fuck! There's
yeah.
kids
And
with Taekwondo black belts running around.
yeah, that was always like my instructor. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, my instructor was a brown belt, and he was
Yeah.
saying the problem he had was like, explaining to some people that what a brown belt was, because he had other people go, well, my 6-year-old's got a black belt, and my 10-year-old's got a black belt. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's just not the same. But it is going on. Well, what's what Mads MP said here? Belts should represent knowledge of and commitment. But the problem is that aspect is subjective. Some instructors have a higher standard than others.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it is definitely, I think, across the board, my purple belt was with Carlson Gracie Academy, and that
Mhm.
always had the reputation of being the stingiest with belts. You really had to prove yourself to go up to the next belt. So to see some of, like I say, I don't feel like a purple belt half the time. But
Mhm.
then when I look around me, I go, oh, fair enough. I think I am a purple belt.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and it's so integral in like the public perception of martial arts that if you want to keep your gym alive, like a lot of places, you need belt ranks because you just won't get people joining, and then that's the watering down aspect that's happening. The more popular it gets, the less badass it becomes, and that just seems to be a natural progression of a martial art, I guess. So who
Yeah.
knows what will be the future? Who the fuck knows?
Uh,
But
but yeah, I think, jiu-jitsu will turn back into itself, because I don't know if a lot of people know, like, real Brazilian jiu-jitsu used to be taught to the masses, like, any other, like, I guess Japanese jiu-jitsu, you
yeah,
know person comes at you like this, you break the
yeah,
hold, you put them in a wrist lock, you put them down, and then the real stuff got taught when the classes ended and the family started, rolling with each other, and they might have
yeah,
a few close friends that might join in. And that's how I see it going again. I imagine it'll be a lot of people going through the motions, learning the moves, not really trying with each other, and then there'll just be a few badasses left. And we
yeah.
see it with karate. Have you
Oh yeah.
watched like Karate Combat? The
Oh,
Karate
absolutely.
Combat League? Yeah. And we see, there were always these badass karate people.
Yep.
They've always existed. It's just that not enough attention was given to them. The
Exactly.
overall standard made for, the image of karate being like it was a joke.
Yeah. And I and the craziest thing about making your martial art survive, like you have marketing. We have Joles Mai spamming winged penis in Croatian because
Yeah.
he's learning Wing Chun and he's messing around again. Congrats on the running thing. They were doing what was it? You can explain, Josip. I forgot. It wasn't a marathon. It was like a race thing, and I'll let him write down in the comments so that he can boast. Which means he'll stop spamming Krila Tachuna. So that's screw you. Checkmate. But I was gonna say, uh, like if you watch Karate Combat, it just looks like kickboxing because martial arts are supposed to be fighting, and fighting is fighting. Like we've beaten that point to death on
Yeah.
both of levels. But like, how do you make it separate? That's the whole thing. And so
Well,
like, yeah,
the separation for me, like if we look at Tai Chi and we call it an internal martial art, people start getting into this. I hate the term. We should get rid of the term internal. I liked soft style better,
hmm,
because it used to be, you had internal, external, or soft and hard.
yeah,
And I much preferred it when Tai Chi was known more as a soft martial art. But
okay,
then it gives the impression that, it wasn't hard. But it's not
yeah,
about the end result. The end result should always look the same across the board.
right,
It's how
exactly.
you get there.
Yeah, and that's what to me feels like the true separations between martial arts because like culture what you wear. Is it a gi? Is it a rash guard? Whatever. Like, what's it called? That's all superficial stuff. Like,
Yeah,
what truly separates thing, and even isn't always the end result, because end result is, if you handle both grappling and striking, it's gonna end up like grappling and striking. It's just
yeah,
the method of
absolutely.
training. And like the words that usually, like, a lot of like MMA type people who are more on the side of like, traditional stuff that sucks. Like, whenever you say it's a conceptual thing or it's a principle thing, it feels like you're making a cop out. But it really isn't. It's just wrestling and BJJ are both grappling. They're conceptually
Yeah,
different. That's what all these differences, like Wing Chun and Baji Chuan, that's what the differences between those two should be like. Like, just conceptual differences. Like, here we do more jamming, we do more of this, we do,
yeah,
this is our philosophy, this is what we focus on. But it should always be fighting, just like Wing Chun is in what we've talked about many times. It should be pressuring. That's
yeah,
the only thing I can see it making sense in terms of like the forums and structure and all the soft stuff and all the internal practices. It's just structural alignment and stuff like that. That's
yeah.
what makes the difference. But the end
Yeah,
result
what?
could look almost the same. Just like two different MMA fighters are not the same, but
Well,
they
even
both do striking, kicking, punching, kneeing, all the same stuff, but they
yeah,
have
but
different philosophies. So
well,
that's what differently should be.
yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, just 1 minute, but One Man Stampede said American kickboxing was evolved from karate, wasn't it? And that's true. It was. You know, American kickboxing came from karate. You know, you had the touch sparring, the touch
Yeah,
point fighting, and a lot of the guys, you know, like Bill Superfoot Wallace and
yeah. Joe Lewis and the gang.
yeah, it was
And
all like, you know,
BJJ.
well, this isn't, you know, this isn't real fighting. So they started hitting each other properly, and yeah, American kickboxing was formed. But go back to the MMA.
Yeah,
To me, MMA shows how old martial arts used to evolve, because
right.
it's not just the individual martial artists, as a lot of people like to make out. If you look at different schools,
Hmm.
like um, you know, AKA have a definite style of fighting, and you see it. You can see some fighters, and you go, they've trained at the American Kickboxing Academy.
Yeah.
You know, Jackson and Winkle, whatever. What's that school called?
Winkle's on or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, John Jones's academy. You know, when you
Yeah.
look at the combinations that, like John Jones and that Cowboy Cerrone, and I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. Um, who was the psychopath? He used to be
Uh,
one of my favourites. But
not sure.
yeah, but he that like all of the when you break down the combinations, you can see that it's a certain style.
Yeah.
Like a punch is a punch, a kick is a kick. But when you see some of the um, kick, and punching combinations, you can go, yeah, I can see where that comes from. I know where that comes from.
Yeah, and
And
that's like the difference between the words martial art and style. Like,
yeah,
a lot of times it's conflated because like this we're trying to describe things the best we can. But a lot of MMA, it's just different styles, but it's just fighting. It's all the same stuff, but stylistically there's differences. Like what you
yeah,
were saying.
but you can imagine, like in a time when we were more poetic, instead of Jackson and Winkle, like oh, my brain is fried after a 12-hour shift. But yeah, let's go AKA. Instead of American Kickboxing Academy, you know, if we were in a more poetic society,
Hmm.
you could definitely see them calling themselves like, you know, the warthog like
Yeah,
style, you know, where they
exactly.
bulldoze, take you down and smash you up. Or, you know,
Yeah,
like Team Alpha Male,
animal
instead of,
style as well.
yeah, being like, you know, the wolf style, you know, like it's all of these martial arts developed around each other. And there's even movements in Tai Chi that don't make any sense from a defense against Tai Chi. But if
Hmm.
you bring Choi Li Foot into the picture, suddenly a lot of those moves make a lot more sense.
There you go. It's a perfect
Yeah.
example.
So
And
it'd
that's
be
also
like an
good
arms
in
race.
a lot of traditional martial arts, that they don't like practice things against other martial arts, but you never know. Like you pointed out, these martial arts, especially in China, have vast histories, and they encompass like entire combat. Who the fuck knows what else could be hidden in forms? So that's cool
Yeah.
that you put that up. Like it's a vast syllabus of concepts and techniques in each like Chinese martial art. So perfect example.
Yeah. And, I think Wing Chun probably wouldn't have looked like it does today had people have carried on fighting.
Yep,
And
hundred
even
percent.
then, there are a few different branches of Wing Chun that look a hell of a lot different to
Yep.
the Ip Man style that we see today.
Yeah.
And like when you've got people like Sammo Hung,
Yeah.
he was renowned for fighting using Wing Chun. And
Yeah.
I think that fighting looked a hell of a lot more like the style that he used in his movies than it does with this kind of static, trappy, tappy stuff that we see today. But when you take away, like Tai Chi with pushing hands, when you take away the combat against other people, it then becomes, let's just keep developing this, and you concentrate it down into a very specific set of skills that in the real world aren't that useful.
Yep. Just that's and often I've had similar conversations with like traditional martial artists and like Wing Chun guys or whatever, and a lot of times the pushback on that is, but if you look at boxing, of course you don't have kicks, you don't have this and that, but you're focusing on one skill set and making that like one aspect the best that you can. But the problem is with that response that boxing deals with very realistic aspect of fighting, while Wing Chun is very much conceptual. It's
Yeah,
not dealing with like an entire range, it's dealing with principles. And principles without fighting are empty. It's nothing.
yeah,
So oh, we got Nick said people get too attached to styles with their specific philosophies and don't focus enough on concepts. Yep, exactly. Like all differences between martial arts are in the end conceptual. Like that's the whole thing. Like I made that quick video where I used like Sergio, a kung fu guy's kick, and compared it to yours, where
yeah,
we can just call that a roundhouse kick, but we can call 10 other different, conceptually different kicks also the roundhouse kick, but they're all executed even so ever so slightly different. It could be described as a different thing because, like you said, fighting came first, then came the explanations, the forms, and quantization and this description of what's happening. So for
yeah,
every different roundhouse kick, you could, if you wanted, you could call each one of those something different.
yeah. And it's what Dan Doherty, like that was his quote. It was like the moves came first, like the techniques came first. Because when people get bogged down with, well, what technique is that? You get some people say, well, it's Fair Lady weaves the shuttles, and then other go, no, it's more like pat the horse high. And
Hmm.
Dan would say, like the technique came first. Like you can, you should at the highest level of fighting, you shouldn't be worried about whether you're doing Fair Lady weaving or like pat the horse high. You should just be like, this person's trying to attack me, and I'm going to deal with whatever he puts at me.
Yep. And that's why MMA is like it's becoming more and more of its own style, sort of, because it's not anymore like this martial art versus this martial art. There's so many MMA fighters who've never trained anything besides MMA. But that's good because then you're focusing on the concepts, the names, where it came from, this and that. None of it's relevant. It's just the function of it
Yeah,
is
but
what.
I fully predict that at some point though, like when they say fighting system,
Mhm.
like I fully predict that it might not be in the next few years. It might take, another couple of decades. But we are going to start seeing people saying that they do alpha male style. They do like AKA style. Like
Oh, yeah,
I honestly do think it's going to
that
get like that.
makes sense. That absolutely does make sense because we've historically seen similar transformations of like styles. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cut Nigel? Context, please.
Yeah, you've heard that song, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah. But why are they bringing it up? Do one
yeah,
of us look like one of the guys that sings? I don't know. Can't really
now
see
I
me.
mean, I get accused that I look like a hobo or homeless person sometimes, or most of the time. So who knows?
Yeah,
Probably we did something and we didn't catch a possible pun or a joke.
yeah.
So explain yourself.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
Tai Chi at its highest level, and it's what I always loved about Tai Chi. And again, people get too bogged down with the Chinese parts of it because you've got like Peng Lu Ji and Cao Zhou, Liao. It's their concepts. They're like
joke.
so Peng is
Joe
like an
sounds
up,
like something that might be related to the song.
yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, like Peng is like an upward diversion, and
Okay.
you get a lot of the Misner, a lot of the cheetah files talk about how you get like an upward, like he'll start making more of what it is than it is. It's just an upward diversion. But he'll go, if you are Peng, then you are sunk and you are rooted to the floor. And it's like, no, it's just an upward diversion, mate. Like, and when you get into the depths of it, it's just a way of bringing you away from all of the techniques and just worried about using the right technique or the right concept against
Yeah,
what's coming in. So you don't want force against force. If someone's coming at you with like An or G, then a Peng like deflection is what you want to use.
right. And that makes so much sense. And it's interesting in the same way. Like whenever whenever I look at like Aikido, and if I want to define something that's principially Aikido, a lot of things that aren't part of Aikido, that aren't part of the syllabus that is generally trained, seem to be in line with the Aiki principle. Where like if you have get at least that's how I've learned what the translation of Aiki means. It's blending energies, like
Yeah,
Aiki or Ki. So whenever you blend with the energy instead of like force on force, that's technically the way of joining energies. And a lot of times, when I pull off like some things like koregaeshi or something that is generally viewed as Aikido or recognized as Aikido, a lot of times that technique isn't in line with the Aiki principles. Sometimes I just crank the wrist like a motherfucker.
yeah, yeah.
There's no Aiki there. I'm just being an asshole.
Well,
But
but
sometimes I do join. But
yeah,
sometimes double leg takedown is Aiki. So that's the concept of the thing. But then it doesn't become. That doesn't mean that it's Aikido the way that was codified. So it all breaks down in the end anyway.
well, like Tai Chi, it's extreme ultimate. It's the yin yang. So
Yeah,
yin yang has been adopted by all the martial arts, but really it is you can't have Tai Chi without yin and yang.
yeah,
And like with my one of my other teachers, Godfrey Dornley, like he had the most influence in my sort of style of fighting and like how I approach Tai Chi. And
okay,
he said, you can't forget the fact that, with yin and yang, yang is hard. So if somebody comes at you and punches you full force, and you were to punch them full force, with your fists meeting, the biggest yang wins.
yeah,
It doesn't mean it's ideal, but it's still Tai Chi.
yeah,
If you're both pushing each other, and one of you pushes harder than the other guy, it's just that yang beat that other yang. It might not be ideal, but it's still Tai Chi. And this kind of, well, that's
Yeah.
not Tai Chi, that's not Tai Chi. It's complete
It,
and utter bullshit. Like, there's the
it,
ideal, but we don't always have the ideal.
yeah, that's what was the quote? Uh, it works not because it's light, because it's correct.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it that something?
That
Sitting
was
in a
something Mister said. Yeah, yeah,
sitting in a fucking couch and a person pretending to jump around. Come
yeah.
on. I've been so nice. Like, you've seen the videos that I put out. Like, I genuinely tried to, like, not even like, because you, Nick, like even Ramsey Dewey, like a lot of you truly have been doing debunking videos, like just like full on giving an alternative explanation that's more likely, just like
Yeah.
genuinely debunking. Well, I thought, well, I've never done that. I've never met a single Misner person, and you guys have already made videos on that. So I tried to take the route of, let's explain why from the get-go I don't believe this, even before any debunking is done, why the burden of proof is on those people. And I genuinely tried to be nice and not call this like immediately fake, and explain the position from the get-go, and still exactly the same thing. And it's so frustrating, like, sucks so bad.
Yeah, but the point is that if you have invested so much in it,
Yeah,
and the, deep down, deep down, if you can fight or not.
yeah,
Like, deep down, you when somebody approaches you and you're getting into an altercation, inside whether you are prepared to punch that person in the face, to take a punch, to take someone, like try to tear your head off. You need to know that you are prepared to do that.
yep.
And a lot of these people who, 90% of their training is standing still with their arms outstretched, and somehow they think that that is going to turn them into martial artists. They know when somebody comes up to them and
So,
they have a bit of road rage or they get pushed in a pub, they have to back down because they know they're going to get their asses kicked.
but Alan, you're missing the point. It's not for fighting. HT is not for fighting.
Well,
Try try it again. Try you're a well-trained martial artist. Try like against the Thai kick. But no, it's not for fighting. No,
yeah.
absolutely not for fighting.
But this is what I hate about all of their arguments are the same. I often wonder if they get pulled to one side and get trained on how to engage with these arguments. Because it is about fighting, but it's not about fighting. It is
Yeah,
about, like, it is about making someone jump, but it's not about making someone jump. Yeah, it
it's
is and it
ridiculous.
isn't at the same time, depending on what you want to get out of the argument.
Sorry, Nick. Just so a double KO is a double yang.
Yeah,
Oh shit, we
basically.
got
Well,
comments. I forgot to read some comments. A karate hobo just like Ryu. Yeah. Do you say Ryu or Ryu? What's the? Let's fight on that.
real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be our disagreement.
But the subtleties of yin and yang is both like immensely simple and complicated at the same time. So technically, a double KO. At the moment those punches land, they are both yang. But as you go into unconsciousness, you both become yin.
Right.
Right?
Just
It's like,
Windows speed turn off sound. Doo-doo.
yeah, and there's also like there's bits you can get into. Like, so my hand pulls back here.
Mhm.
It isn't yang yet because there's no like
Yeah.
delivery of the force. But at the same time, it is yang because it has the potential for movement.
Mhm.
So this then becomes yang. As it hits and rotates and gets to its fullest extension, it then becomes yin again because the force is like
Yeah.
spent
Yeah.
and there is no more potential for movement.
Yeah.
It's 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 simple and complicated at the same time. And what you really don't need is somebody like Misner or any of those martial man, like money making, gravy boat riding fucks that deliberately make it overcomplicated just so
And
that you can feel
boom.
above people. That's what
That was,
they want you to feel, like you're above these other martial arts because you understand.
oh yeah, the
Yeah,
depths of truth about things, and
yeah,
that makes you philosophical. Like, what was the guy that you showed on YouTube short that I think miser people like pointed the fingers on him being like a good HME person, and he said something about that's the uniqueness of Tai Chi Chuan is like separating your being.
yeah, yeah. It
What the
turns
fuck?
out he
What
isn't
the
a
fuck?
HME person, but
Oh.
apparently he's got a lot of money. So, like all of these Misner guys, including me, around with him, so that he, he lavishes them with his money basically, and then he's sort of got people to listen to him a lot more because he's able to pay a lot of people to hang around with him basically. But yeah,
So
he
that's
was
not
champion.
but masters at scamming people out of their hard-earned money. That's what they're masters of, really.
Yeah, and he championed, or he was being championed by the HME crowd because he um he had issued a challenge. I think I said this to you before,
Mhm.
where he was saying if you could repeat what Misner does on him, he would give you $10,000. But
Oh,
I think that is the biggest self-own ever because
yeah,
it just
yeah.
goes to
You
show
talked
that
about.
what Misner does is bullshit. Because of course you can't reproduce it on him because Misner can't really do it. He's just jumping for no reason.
That's hilarious at this point. And
It's
and even worse is how many people pretend or feel like they're being super intellectual. And sometimes I feel like whenever I get one of those go touch hands with him and then talk shit, like I like those sometimes even more than when someone gives like a well thought out detailed response, because it's like you're wasting your brain cells on this bullshit. Like,
yeah,
you're trying to argue for this so hard and it falls short every time, that it's like it's more infuriating than just like a dumb remark, because it feels like you're wasting your like brain on this shit.
yeah.
Stop.
But one man Stampede has said, I see that Funkalopagus dude has an affiliate link on his YouTube to sign up for HME. So his guess is that he gets commission for sign-ups.
Oh yeah.
Must have been put aside for sales training. He definitely has because his whole YouTube chat, like, it made me laugh on that video where he said, it's not about the money. And then at the end of that video, he's like, thank you to my Patreon supporters. It's not
Let-
about the money. Thanks for giving me money.
yeah, yeah. Oh, come on. It's crazy. And uh, humans will try to rationalize anything to justify beliefs. Yeah, exactly. Just perfectly simply put. And it sucks because, like, of course, all two all two patrons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's two people. Better not mess around. They'll make you jump around. But uh, but it's crazy. I can't remember exactly where I was gonna go, but I think the humans will try to rationalize anything to justify beliefs. So the thing is, like, of course, this is a fucking cult. Like, there's no two ways of like around. It is a cult. But even so, I'm pretty sure that there's people who are drawn to this type of thing, and maybe specifically to HME, but aren't members, but are sort of getting like entangled in that bullshit, but aren't yet committed. So like my videos, two videos that I made, the longer one and the response, was mostly geared towards those people because those people may be able to change their minds. Like a lot of these, none of us will change their minds. I don't
Yeah.
feel like we will. But that's why I tried to go for a measured, like, discussion
From
type thing.
Yeah, but for me, it's not about changing people's minds because I don't think unless you see people in real life and communicate with them in real life,
Yeah, I gave up on that shit.
you can't change their minds. But for me, again, it's not about changing their minds. It's about when someone puts a search in for Misner and goes, "Oh my God, what a joke!" They're also
Yeah,
going to see my video and go,
yeah,
"Oh right, so Tai Chi isn't about chi balls.
yeah, exactly.
You know, it is a martial art. Oh, it is just striking, you know, and grappling and
Yeah,
throwing and all this other stuff. It's basically like an older style MMA, right? Great.
yeah. And that's the true in defense of the traditional martial arts, right there.
Yeah, yeah. It's just to show other people that, you know, we're not all the same.
Yeah, man, oh man, that it's crazy stuff. It's that it's people look
Yeah.
for community. Nick says absolutely,
Well, it's
absolutely.
true. I mean, look at us though. Like we've all
Yeah,
ended up supporting each other.
absolutely. I
Like
was just
it's a
gonna
really
say
nice
that's
feeling.
a universal thing.
Yeah.
I just make fun of people so that they take a fake wrestler making videos in his garage seriously. Look, your videos are awesome, and you're definitely making fun of those people, which is awesome. And I feel like I'm done with trying to be measured and philosophical about Misner stuff
Yeah.
because that was my dying breath on
No,
trying to be these people. Because
he
you know
just
what's the worst thing? Like now that I go back and watch those videos, like I do ramble a bit too much, and I do enjoy philosophy, and I genuinely find it fun regardless of martial arts, and I studied on the side or whatever. But the thing is, like, it feels the more measured I try to be, it's easier to change it or view it as slight like support towards Misner, where it's like I'm not trying, like the nicer you are, the shittier people will treat you type thing.
yeah.
That's what it feels like. And I'm sure that a lot of those people just didn't get my point at all. Like the even if I, like, as I've openly said that before any debunking is done, like the base position is I'm not convinced. Not that I'm
Yeah.
convinced that it's all fake. I'm just not convinced. But it's the same thing. Like when you put that in like your everyday life, you realize how trivial that is. Because for an example, when you look at like lights in the sky, and it looks like a plane. Maybe for a moment you can say it's a UFO because
Yeah.
it's flying, it's an object, and it's unidentified. Once you see, oh, it's a plane. Still, it could be so- some super advanced alien technology that makes it look like a plane. Can you disprove that? Can you show me that that's not
Yeah.
really what? So that's the position. Like, I'm just not convinced that it is an alien spacecraft trying to look like a plane. Very well could. I couldn't falsify that, but that's so trivial that you could, you will say, nah, dude, that's a plane. Like,
Yeah.
you you will not spend time thinking on that. And that's what I was trying to explain. But no, fuck me, I guess. Like, screw that shit.
Well, I mean,
It's
when
so
people were saying that you ramble on your videos, and it's kind of like, well,
I do.
I mean, yeah, but we all do, you know,
Yeah,
every single, even the professionals, at times you watch them do a video and you go, actually, you could have condensed that into about 5 minutes. But
yeah. But instead made two videos. Fuck you.
yeah, no, but it's like I had somebody the other day, and he was basically like, he, he was a knob from the start. You know, I posted a video, it was about the Wing Chun takedown defense. And
Oh
in
shit.
that video, I posted the link to the Wing Chun defense video. So it's
Oh,
like, if you want to see it, watch the video.
sure.
And then I give my opinion on it. And I had this guy go, I watched this video wanting more of the Wing Chun takedown defense, but you just kept talking. And it's like, well, yeah, it's the point of the video. Well, I don't I don't think that, like, people don't like to concentrate for too long. And it's like, well, yeah, and for those people as
That's their
TikTok,
problem.
yeah, I'm making this content because it's what I want to do. I also do shorts for the people that don't like to concentrate, but this is my thing. Well, I'm just trying to give you constructive criticism and get people to watch your stuff. And it's like, okay, could you post a link to your videos and I'll watch those, and then we'll see if I can take your advice more seriously then. Oh well, don't well, exactly. You don't have a page, do you? You don't have
Yeah,
videos. Shut up. Like,
right. And it's crazy that how people don't like accept the fact. Like, of course, like we said, the appeal to authority or appeal to anything like that, it doesn't mean that you're right. The fact that we are making YouTube videos doesn't have to mean that we're right. But you do have to realize we are putting ourselves out there. Like, we are exposing ourselves to the internet. Like that, if you want to like discuss stuff seriously with us, like at least appreciate that people are doing this. Like, it doesn't mean that we're right because of it, but think about that for a moment. Like, it's easy to shit talk behind a screen, but at least expose yourself a little bit, and you'll see what you're made of. And it's just annoying. And that's the thing, like, the more respectful you are towards these knobs, as you would say,
yeah.
they're being like bigger or smaller knobs because of their insecurities, I guess. So it's an attempt at a joke, but we'll let that slide. So
Well, but yeah, it's just, if you don't like the video, okay, you don't like it,
yeah.
like, move on with it. Like, if you want to say, I disagree with the video because X, Y, and Z, great. But when you start trying
Sorry.
to give me advice,
Yeah, just read One Man Stampede's comments.
yeah, we all ramble.
Yeah, but before I'm just trying to spread the word that Misner has no ass.
And where was that? I missed that one.
Yeah, it was before I missed it too. Where did that come? Keep spreading that word, them cheeks.
He has got, like, it is hilarious. He's like a bug, isn't he? Like, one of those bugs with the big spindly legs, and then that
Right.
fat bulbous body at the top. Like, yeah, and it's just funny. People, yeah, but that's because he's so good at Tai Chi. No, it's because he eats a lot of fucking food,
Very
drinks a lot
simple.
of whiskey. Have you seen that video? He's talking to some other Tai Chi guy, and they're definitely talking about us. Like,
Oh,
I even
really?
had someone post the video and say,
I
I
gotta
bet they
check
were
that out.
talking about you because they
Or
did a
send
big
that.
long, yeah, they did a big long rambling video, but then they didn't bring it out because I think they got drunk. But there were two really bad Andrew Tate wannabes. They were sat in a lounge that looked like, and one of Andrew Tate's videos. They were sipping on whiskey and they were drinking, they were smoking cigars, and they're proper like mouth gulping these
Oh yeah,
cigars
the
as
big
well.
one. Yeah, the one
Like
of.
the goldfish, not even smoking properly. Like, I don't particularly like Andrew Tate, but at least he can smoke a cigar,
Exactly. Yeah, like
I,
at
I
least.
believe that he likes a cigar. I
Yeah,
believe that he likes drinking whiskey. In
yeah.
Misner's case, I think he just likes uh, food.
It's all about perception with those people. I think like almost everything is like fake to a degree because it's all personalities, and it's a cult of personality as well. So like it's all about pretense, and it's all about how you're being viewed. I feel like I can't know that exactly, but I don't feel an ounce of genuine like human stuff whenever I listen to Misner. It just all seems like I'm taking your money, I'm taking your money, I'm
Yeah.
bullshitting my movie, I'm taking your money. Fuck you, thank you. It's ridiculous.
Even down to the accent, and they all do it to an extent as well. They do this. I'm
Not
gonna
because it's
sound
loud.
like a Chinese Taoist monk, and
Yeah,
they even start doing a faux Chinese accent. I find it really offensive
yeah,
because, like, even I hate the whole silk pajama stuff as well. It's
yeah.
like if you want to train like a Chinese martial artist, wear a crappy like tracksuit. Like
Yeah.
I remember my friend had this photograph of his dad and his friends doing back Mei Kung Fu in like a park in
Oh,
Kowloon Park in Hong Kong, really
oh.
famous park. And they were in like flared denim jeans because it's in the 70s and bare chested. So it's like, if you want
Big.
to get real traditional with your Kung Fu training, bring
That's
out
what
the
you have
flared
to
jeans. Yeah. That's definitely a video I want to do. I want to dig out because there's a few
do.
photos of people training like that, and I want to dig out. Today, I'm going to
Please,
be wearing my traditional Hong Kong kung fu training outfit, and it's just then
please.
flash away, come back, and it's just me
You
topless.
absolutely have to do that, especially
Yeah,
because I think in a video where we like in one of the previous lives where we did the tier list thing when we talked about
yeah.
karate, like you jokingly mentioned something like most people just like doing katas and wearing pajamas or whatever, and some guy was really offended in the comments, like two
Oh,
self-proclaimed
really?
yeah, and it's like I was like, chill, dude, it was just a joke. Like you we're both doing jujitsu, and it's just
Yeah.
who gives a fuck. So you can maybe use that for that video, just as like a jokey element, because come on, it's martial art is a martial art. What you wear shouldn't matter.
Well,
Like you can
there's
do
a
Muay
book.
Thai with no clothes at all. Like it would still be Muay Thai.
There's a
You are just
book I
holding-
read. It was a good book actually. It's about Aikido training at the Japanese riot police course in
oh,
Japan, and it's called Angry White Pajamas. And this is a guy that's a black belt in Aikido. You know,
there you go.
it's
It's just
it,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Speaking of Aikido, yesterday I pulled off two consequent like Koregaeshi submissions on like an MMA guy that I never rolled with, and guess what? Neither of them were Aiki types.
yeah,
There's the concept things like everybody goes, oh, wrist lock, that's Aikido, and it's called, and I called it Koregaeshi. There was no fucking Aiki there, and
yeah.
why I was able to do it because the person wasn't expecting it. Next time, no chance I'm gonna pull it off. Like no way.
I don't know
So
if I've mentioned this before though. Like Mariah Shiba, like he was a proper martial artist, like proper fighting martial artist when he was younger. And
yeah,
there's different students he had at different ages, and they branched off. They became teachers themselves, and you can see like the further you go back in the lineage, like the more martial it is. But towards the end of his life, he got really spiritual. The people
yeah,
around him were really spiritual, and when he
yep,
died, that was the direction they took it in. And all
yep,
of the people that carried on with the martial side kind of got edged out. And
yep. Thrown
yeah,
away,
yeah,
actually.
and the only one that is still kind of around is the competition style one with
Oh,
the knife.
Tomiki.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tomiki's fine. Tomiki's is a cute little martial art. There's fine. It's
yeah,
like similar to judo, and in terms of modern judo, where it's like from the beginning it felt like closer to what judo is today. Like I don't think it was ever super hard or super like fight oriented, but
yeah,
it's the conceptual thing where it wasn't meant to be that. It was, let's set up a competition where we reward successful aiki the most.
yeah, yeah,
That's what tomiki is. It's like you see techniques that we often see in so many martial arts. Like one of the more famous tomiki aikido techniques is shamenate, which is essentially a knee tap. You just grab the leg and you push the head. And why
yeah,
it's used there and why it's like sort of like put on a pedestal, not because it's more functional than this or that or whatever, because it's in line with Aiki. So the whole competition base is just let's reward Aiki. And how that's what the difference is in terms of that grappling style versus that grappling style. It's all
Yeah,
conceptual, so that's cool.
yeah. But
Tomiki
yeah,
is cool.
yeah. I mean, I've got time for any martial art that doesn't try and bullshit what it is. I
Yes.
get a lot of people go, "What have you got against people doing?" Like, I do Tai Chi as an exercise. Why are you against it? And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
If
And
if you want
here's
to,
a perfect example. Like you can finish, but I don't want to interject.
yeah,
So
no, that's all right. What are you going to say?
yeah, so like the same example of like, well, I'm doing this just as a meditation thing. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that this has a martial root and that it should be like viewed as a martial art. And it's interesting in case of Aikido, like as you said, it became almost the complete opposite of a martial art. It's not a martial art in definition. And it's cool that the person who's a member of jiu-jitsu school that we are attending, he's a black belt in Aikido and had, I think, one of the first Aikido dojos in these, like, in Croatia, in these area.
Yeah,
Uh, and he himself says, like, Aikido in this way that they do it, it's not martial. It's it's movement that's inspired from martial arts, from like Aikijitsu or whatever, and it's just a philosophical meditational practice. As soon as you try to functionalize it, it's going to become Aikijitsu. So he would show us like what he would do for people who just want demonstration, like not demonstration, meditation, and just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
something, the hobby. He'd show a koregaishi how they would do it and why they would do it in this certain way, and there was no pretense of it being martial. But then he would show how he would do it when he would roll and do it live, and he would say that's not Aikido anymore. That's Aikijitsu,
yeah.
and it's gonna become jujitsu. It's gonna become just fighting. So like Aikido, in the mainline Aikido, it's really not even a martial art per se. But it's funny that Aikido people ruin it because they do say like Misner, it is for martial arts. It's not for martial arts, but it is to kill a person. But it's the way of peace. What the fuck are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah, just playing word games to try and not, you know, if they have to answer a specific question, they know that they're wrong, so they have to play these games.
Yeah, and I
Case in
just,
point,
yeah, if I can interject one more
yeah,
time, I think you find this cool. So that guy, the Aikido guy, when we were rolling, it's some time ago now, but it's a really cool thing how like these concepts are universal, and we see like bottom grappling wrist locks all the time in BJJ. That we know that they work, but the thing is, like, I think I was in his guard or whatever, and he came up with an idea because what he did is, like, when you go for an armbar, like if one of the defenses, you go down with the thumb so that
yeah,
you
yeah,
can pull out. And the thing is, like, he's so good with wrist locks that as soon as you do this, he's got the Nikio, like, wrist lock, where one of the
yeah,
requirements is for the thumb to be down. So you press here and push here. And as soon as I try to escape the normal way, that's the common, boom, I'm tapping. Just like
yeah.
that. And it's just a concept. It doesn't matter, like the real function, that's a different thing. This is a concept that you can apply. And whether it's Aikido, it doesn't matter. Like that shit exists everywhere. That's so universal. Like in Chin Na, in any kung fu that deals with Chin Na, it's all the same shit. So yeah,
Absolutely. But yeah, I was going to say case in point with the weird like Tai Chi jiu-jitsu wordplay that they do
yeah,
is there's that video of that famous judo guy, I forget his name, and he must be like in his late 80s and he's throwing his students around and his students try to throw him but they can't. And
yeah,
is that, someone tell me that this guy was going easy on his students. And you're like, well, I mean, it's not about him going easy on his students. It's about his students going easy on him.
yeah,
And then somebody came into the comments and said, it's not, they're not even doing randori, they're doing kata. like judo
Oh,
kata, which is a set of moves, a prearranged set of moves that you do, and you show the counters, and then you do the movements.
yeah.
And this guy was simultaneously saying, "Yes, you're right. See, you're wrong, Alan, because it's not even the students weren't going easy on them because they're doing this kata." And then I'm saying, "Well, no, but I'm right because I'm saying his students aren't actually trying to throw him." And he's going, "But they are. We can see in the footage that he is." I go, "Hang on, it
What the
can't be both kata and mandori at the same time. That's not how it works."
It's hilarious, and it reminds me of like those memes and like archetypal characters in like sitcoms and TV shows or whatever, who are like they make an opinion, you disagree, they immediately agree with you. Then
Yeah,
you yeah, they disagree on that too. It's like, do you have an opinion?
yeah.
You're just copying.
It
There's
just
a lot
just
of
stick to a narrative, but it's always just shift. Like
oh
that
yeah.
video is not real. That video is not real. Well, you don't need a video anyway. Uh,
And
But
were
you
we
just tried to show me a video. No, I was just showing you our video. I didn't say it was a video.
talking? Then what
Well,
even
why are
is
you sharing it then? Yeah, just
oh, it's mind numbing. It's crazy
yeah.
shit. Oh
One man stampede. I saw that post. Funny how dudes just contradict
yeah.
themselves. Yeah, they
Oh
just
man.
want to win the point. They
Yeah.
don't want to win the argument. They just want to win the point.
Yeah.
That even if it makes themselves look foolish, they just want to go, "You're wrong because this."
Yeah. And it's so remember when I sent you? I feel so bad that I didn't screenshot it immediately, but
Oh
some
yeah,
that was amazing.
you're
You're
an idiot.
always and I
I
just responded with you are,
yeah.
and he edited it. He changed it, and it's like, come on. Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
If I ever think there's a chance someone's going to like delete or screen or amend something, I always screenshot now. And
Yeah,
the amount
yeah,
of times I've had people go, "I never said that," and then they've
yeah.
deleted it, and then I tag them in the post and go, "Wasn't this what you said?" And I had a whole night where this guy kept deleting his own comment
Oh yeah, I
and then
remember that
and
one,
then
right?
re-putting the comment up because he was trying to get it so that I could, and I just kept replying, just kept putting that same screenshot on. And it's like you're so desperate, you're wrong.
Well,
You're not even going to have the dignity to at least delete the post. You're just going to keep uploading it and hoping that I don't put the photo on.
it's insane. And it's all about pretense. It's all about like not what they truly feel, what they truly think. It's what other people think of them that matters. They don't care about actual like integrity. And that's just super sad. Not
Yeah,
nothing much to say except that it's sad. So that sucks. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm not gonna be nice to Misner people anymore. Fuck you guys.
no. They never show up either. They never want to do like live debates.
Nope.
Like that guy was going to kick my ass. I was like, all right, come and kick my ass, but first let's do a live. No, no, I'm not going to do live with you.
Yeah,
Well, why not? If you're going to come and kick my ass, let's at least have a talk first, man to man, and we'll decide what the
yeah,
rules are and everything else. I'm not appearing on your live. Then you're not going to turn up and fight me, then are you? Like,
exactly. If you're scared of that, don't talk about
yeah,
like. Come on, like it feels like those people, if they just even saw you in public, would be shaking. It's like that.
no, there's that
Come
guy.
on.
He lives just down the road from me, and he was like, "Yeah, let's meet up. I'll show you how it goes." And I said, "Okay, like we'll meet
Really?
up, and you could display your stuff on me, and we'll film it." "Oh no, I'm not letting you film it." Well,
Oh,
what's the point in us turning up together? Well, it's just so I can show you. But there's going to be no proof. What's the point? Well, you can say it in video afterwards. It's like, but you could say that you threw me through the air with a
oh,
single touch. Like, no, we'll both film it because he was saying you could edit it. You could edit it so I look. I'm like, we'll both film it and we'll both make videos for our channels. Like, it's that
it's
easy.
so easy, and that's the
Yeah,
whole thing. Like, that's proper evidence. And a lot of people in my videos were like, well, what evidence would convince you? Like, what evidence? Because this and that. It's so simple. There's your examples, and it's never, there's never an agreement to a set of like possible evidence that could be swayed. It could sway people one or the other side. And it's just think about the court. That's the whole thing. Like, could your claim stand up in court? Would that shit work? Would you be able to convince somebody? If you can do it in such a way, you'll convince people. It's so simple. Like, imagine if, like, it's a court dispute. Yeah, like he threw me 3 meters in the air by just touching me. Like, you'll need evidence for that shit. And like,
yeah.
well, he made a video and he talked about it afterwards. Like, that's not gonna fly in course. Like, sorry, it's simple as that. It's no other talk is necessary at all. That's what it's all about. Just show sufficient evidence, whatever it may be, but it has to be sufficient. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
But these guys, they never want to compete because it's too martial, or it's not the streets, or they'd be at a disadvantage.
Ugh.
I love it. My go-to answer now is, "Oh, so you're not as skillful as a boxer then?"
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Then what? I'm like, well, if you're saying you have to kick him in the nuts to win the fight, then what you're saying is you're not as skillful as that boxer.
yep.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Well, what are you saying then? And they just eat like they choke on their own words.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's a
hilarious.
real fight, so I'll attack their throat. Oh, right, a kickboxer's got more skill than you did. What? No, what? But so their timing's better than yours. What? No, to just eat that, they just choke
And it's
every
like the
time.
whole eye pokes thing that you made, the whole video
Yeah,
that you made about eye pokes. If you can touch somebody with a big ass glove, you can touch their eye. If you can't hit anyone with a big ass glove, you won't be able to touch their eye. End of
yeah.
story.
The
That's
idea that like you're gonna get like the fingers like right in the eyes every time. It's like you are. Most people are gonna, this idea of the old whoosh. Like you're gonna break your fingers more times than not.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, a punch in the ring
Yeah,
works like a punch
exactly.
on
Yeah,
the
that's what.
streets.
That's the other
Absolutely.
question I always ask as well. I always say, which techniques like can you use in the street that you can't use in the ring? If it comes down to just poking the eyes and throat strikes, it's like, but that's you can both do that. An MMA fighter can do that in the street. Like, what are the techniques that you can't use in the ring, like that
Yeah.
is going to be different to what the MMA fighter can do?
It's hilarious because, but also me and Nick last time when we talked about that precisely, and it's like those people don't appreciate how well thought out the like general MMA rules system, whatever it might be it like amateur, pro,
Yeah,
UFC, like unified rules, whatever, like just a generalized MMA rule set without maiming and stuff. They don't appreciate how well thought out that actually is, because all the illegal stuff is easy to do. That's the whole thing.
yeah,
Like, it's focused on the hard skill sets,
yeah,
the skill set that become vessels for the illegal strikes.
yeah,
That's the whole thing. If you can double leg somebody into oblivion, throw them on the ground, you can rip off their nuts any
yeah.
time of the day. Like,
Well,
you can be nasty Master Wong type,
yeah,
hit the groin, big
but that
problem. But
a lot of
it
people don't
doesn't
realize.
matter.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't realize with jiu-jitsu, that's where the point system came from.
Yeah.
It's like I take your back, I get 4 points. It's not that I'm going to
Yeah.
try and choke you out in the street. It's not that I'm going to try and transition to an armbar or any new. Like I am going to smash you in the back of the head until your brainstem like
Yep.
falters. Or I'm going to grab you by your head and just rebound your head off the pavement until you're like completely unconscious. Like if I've got knee on belly, I can punch you in the
Yep.
face. you can't punch me. That's why that scores points. If I've got you in mount, I can punch you. I can put my thumb right into your eyes. You're not going to be able to reach me to do the same. You ain't going to have the same leverage. You know,
Yep.
all the rest of the jiu-jitsu stuff, and like One Man Stampede said, everyone sleeps with a choke. Yeah, all the rest
Yeah.
of that stuff is you being nice. You choke someone
Yep.
to sleep and you let go, they live to
Yeah.
see another day, you know.
Yeah.
But
Like
but
you said, if John Jones is fighting me on the street, I hope that there's a ref to stop him.
yeah,
I
exactly.
I don't. Come on.
Well, that was a weird. I got into a debate with like there was this is the logic of the Misner fans is unbelievable. There was this John Jones video where he's demonstrating on a student, a Muay Thai student, and he's got him in a clinch, you know, like he's got his hands wrapped around his wrists,
Okay.
and he does like a few elbows, and it ends with like a spinning elbow. And this guy goes, I think you should realize as well as anyone that that's just a demonstration. And you're like, hang on a minute, that's John Jones. And he was a bit, yeah, yeah, he's probably like the best fighter who's ever lived, but still just a
Yeah.
demonstration. You know, but there's proof of him doing this stuff
Exactly. That's the whole
in the
thing. It's
cage. Like,
right. That's that's the
yeah,
whole thing. Like you say, whatever they train, they can do. When you say
yeah,
that, that's what it is. Like he shows this, and then he shows it done for real.
yeah,
That's why we're listening to his demonstrations because
yeah,
he's done it for real. That's
yeah.
so
There's
simple.
nothing wrong with a demonstration, providing that you can replicate that demonstration in real life.
It's so hilarious, and especially like now you make me think of like the two videos that I made. I think in the second Misner video in this new like sort of saga thing is like I said, it's not. I don't even have a problem with like internal martial arts because a lot of these people when they were defending Misner, when I would push back on that, they would fall on like they would ignore the Misner side and just say, "Well, you're shitting on internal martial arts." So that's why I showed like in Wing Chun, whenever I do like forms and when I think about like structural alignment, that's internal martial arts. That's something that you don't see, but it's something that I can feel because it's my own body. That's why I know what I'm actually doing. But I could be doing another motion with a different intent, and you couldn't see the difference. So it's that's universal. That's I have no problem with that. Nobody has problem with that. It's specific bullshit claims
Yeah,
that are the problem that are
yeah.
never addressed or never demonstrated, and it's stupid,
Take a look at
very
this
stupid.
comment.
My brain-
Not
oh,
to make BJJ more gay, because as we all know,
yeah,
BJJ is very gay, right? But
without eye contact, it's
bottom
not.
can grab dick, but will that make a face fisting obsolete? I think not. That is the other point, isn't it? It's like I can grab your dick. Yeah, but if I'm making you go unconscious, and there's footage, isn't there? There's footage of the early UFC fight where a guy is
Yeah,
being elbowed right in the nuts,
yeah.
properly elbowed in the nuts, and he just carries on. You
Yep.
know, it, that,
And the thing is, here's the thing. First of all, to hit somebody's groin, like kick it, like people just kick the groin.
yeah,
First of all, you need to be able to kick. Like
yeah,
that's if you don't first. So there, it already falls apart there because you have to have some martial arts experience
yeah,
to be able to target. Second of all, if you even land, maybe you don't land flushly. Maybe you don't actually land it correctly. But guess what? When you land a good power shot here, that person is sleeping if you did
yeah,
it correctly. You could hit the nuts, maybe the person's fucking crazy on drugs, adrenaline's high, they don't feel it right away. They smash your face in, and then they start feeling the pain, and then they crumble.
yeah.
But guess what? They're
But
crumbling in pain, but you're dead. It's
But the
like,
other thing is, it's like I always say, like with the eye pokes and everything else, it's like if it wasn't in the cage, like the ref's there to keep you safe. But if it
yeah,
wasn't in the cage, we don't know for sure how many of those fights wouldn't carry on.
yeah. And it's not something that's reliable like
Yeah,
a good 1-2. That's the
yeah,
whole thing. Like nobody says that groin strikes can be a fight ender. But first of all, you still need to be able to land it. So you
well,
can't
a
escape
jab,
learning. fighting.
it,
You have to learn how to fight. There's no escaping that. So,
you can end a fight with a good jab. You know, people
yep,
have been knocked out by a jab. But if we look at like go look at knockout videos, the most common technique that will knock someone out is a straight right or a left or right hook. They're the punches that knock people out. You know,
yeah,
yes, a nut shot can take someone totally out of a fight. At the same time, it can just piss someone off. You know, it can make them even more mad.
exactly. Like,
It,
oh, you raised the stakes. Now I'm gonna fuck you up.
yeah. And another question I always ask these people is, what is when they say, I'll just eye poke or I'll just like groin kick, it's like, what percentage of the techniques that you do are eye pokes? What
Yeah.
percentage of the techniques that you do in your system are strikes to the groin? Like, what I love about Tai Chi, little thing for you here, if it mentions the
Mhm.
C in Tai Chi, it's usually a groin strike. So
Oh,
needle at C
never knew that.
bottom is like a groin strike. Like it's
Oh,
yeah, anything that mentions the C usually means that you're attacking the groin. But the
that's
vast
amazing.
majority of techniques in Tai Chi are just punches, kicks, throws and sweeps and things. Like that is the vast majority of Tai Chi techniques.
Most of Tai
And
Chi is dry, is what you're trying to say.
yeah, most martial arts, the vast majority of the techniques are strikes. Even if they're open palm strikes, they're still strikes. Like, and you've got throws and sweeps and everything else thrown in there. You like in karate, you have a few like spear hand techniques, that you could say you're attacking the throat or the eyes or whatever else.
In Wing
The
Chun, that's
vast
BFD.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The vast majority of your techniques aren't that though. The vast majority of your techniques are either striking with your palm or
Mhm.
striking with the fist. And again,
Yep.
in Tai Chi, if you look at Tai Chi, most strikes to the face are palm strikes. Most strikes to the body are hand strikes. Because again,
Yeah.
you don't want to break your fists
Yeah. And
on
that's the
people's
thing.
heads.
Like, but bringing it back to the conceptual type thing, that's why a lot of like palm strikes exist in old traditional like more like historical martial arts, because
Yeah,
aikido is a traditional martial art, but it's not really in a historical one. Well, it's only young as like in early 20th century,
yeah.
so it's not, it's
But
not
most
ancient.
styles are, and this is what I mean about MMA
Exactly.
becoming their own styles because you know
Exactly.
as we get on, as we get towards about the 100-year mark, they'll become their own sort of styles. Most styles, like their roots, go back thousands of years, but most styles as they exist now are like 100, just over 100 years old, and they will
Not that
die
old.
out, and they will
Yep.
die out. That's just the nature of life. But let's take a look at these comments because there's some classics here. You know
Oh,
that
God,
nut
well,
shot that takes 10 seconds for the pain to kick in? 10 seconds can change a fight. Exactly.
exactly. Jinx.
And that
Yeah.
is the evolutionary reason for that delay in the pain, isn't it?
Yep.
You get hit in the
Yep.
nuts, your body goes, right, you are going to feel that, but first,
You
you're going to get
do
a little
something.
bit of a chance to fuck this person up. And
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's my point earlier. Like, imagine you get kicked in the nuts, then you go crazy, you snap the guy's neck, then you fall on the ground, you're feeling the pain, but you're in pain, and he's dead. What's
yeah.
better? Like, what's better?
Uh, and this is my favorite comment of the evening right here. KMS star
Yeah,
1.62. I enjoy living by the sea. You slut.
absolutely. Fuck yeah.
You slut.
10 out of 10 comment.
But yeah, no, go back
Gold
to that.
medal,
Like,
I'll say. For wrestlers, they're crotch sniffers. So they're all living by the sea.
going back to the 10-second thing, 10 seconds can change a fight. And that, like, like you say, you get hurt and then you survive it. Back in the day, there was this Kali Eskrima teacher that I knew, and he was sparring against like a well-known. He used to write for Combat magazine.
Okay.
Kali Salat instructor, I think he was. Kali and Salat, and they were doing some sort of knife sparring, blade sparring stuff. And this guy kept smiling, at the teacher, and he's going, "I keep getting you. I keep getting you."
Yeah.
And the teacher was smiling afterwards. It's like, "What are you smiling at?" And he's like, "Well, because every time he was getting me, he's saying like he was getting me like in the lung. He was getting me, between the ribs where my lungs are."
Mm.
He's like, "But every time he was doing that, I was getting him in the groin."
Ah.
And he's like, "So yeah, because they're both high level." He's like, "Yes, I'm gonna get, like my lung is gonna collapse, like I'm gonna be bleeding internally." It's like, "But I'm going to the hospital. Chances are I'm surviving." Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. He said, if the ambulance is in the at the scene, he said, with the cut that I was doing on him, he's dead.
Yeah.
You could have a surgeon, like a whole surgical team ready to.
Yeah.
There's nothing you
You
can
did.
do with that cut.
Exactly.
And he's like, and that's again, that's the thing, yin yang and all the rest of it. Sometimes the best option is take the least amount of damage, but
Yeah.
dish out the maximum amount of damage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing about like especially weapons training. When we look at like stuff like HEMA, like chances of you like if you look at a boxing match, no matter how good you are, you're gonna get punched. Same thing is with swords. No matter how good you are, you're gonna get cut. And
Yeah,
just think like loads of sparring, and just think about that. Like you're gonna get hurt. So that's why you have to hurt the person more on more vital
yes.
places. But you're gonna get cut. So
Yeah, it's what always annoys me when you get these people and they go, you know, "Hey, there's a guy with a scar," and they go, "Well, I don't want the guy with the scar. I want the guy that gave him that scar." But the
uh,
guy that gave that guy that scar might be dead.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
yeah. And,
You should see the
most
other
most martial artists would cry louder from an oil check than a groin strike. I
guy.
don't know. I might quite
Yeah,
like it. Don't knock it till you've tried it. That's all I'm going to say. But it would be an honourable death. Depends.
Classic.
Depends. After you finish that oil check, if they say next time use two fingers, you've got to worry. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, you won the fight then.
No, you're running at that point, aren't
You'll be all both will be living by the sea at that point.
you?
It's time to move.
Well, that's what one of the saber techniques is needle at sea. No, needle at sea bottom is it is
That sounds
oh
scary.
god, yeah, it's yeah. Whenever I see that technique, it just makes me cringe because I can, you can
Oh,
imagine, and
oh,
people would have been hit by that technique,
yeah.
and it's like,
And that probably happened to people because people were fighting and going to war.
yeah,
So there are
yeah,
people who
exactly.
felt that shit. And it's
I know
not
people would
fun.
definitely getting like, yeah, the
Although
insides
I
like
wouldn't
just
want to like vocalize that shit.
yeah.
Fuck.
Well, I once did that classic thing, like my katana slid out of the case, and I went to grab it, and it slid across my finger, right?
Oh,
And it just like felt like, "Ugh," like that. But that's like a little tiny cut, and
yeah.
like it felt gross. Imagine doing that to somebody.
Yeah, nope.
Oh,
Nope. Nope.
yeah.
End of story. Moving on to the next topic. Fuck that. That shit sucks. Yeah, what is it in HEMA or something? There's like also a technique that targets the groin with like a rapier. I think it's like hellish something because it hits the groin. So it's
Yeah,
certainly hellish.
I don't know
So
that much about HEMA. I watch a lot of HEMA videos, but in terms of
yeah,
the
but
name of
not
strikes, I
really
don't
famous.
know a lot. I've got
I
a lot
only
of
know that
time for HEMA.
crooked strike is called Krumpau, and like guess that's German, and that's like a good technique. That's the only thing that I do know from HEMA. That's it.
Oh, search the bottom of the sea. That's what the technique in the
Mhm.
saber form is called. Searching the bottom of the sea, and you're basically pushing your saber right up.
Yeah, searching
Yeah,
that area.
you are searching that sea.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
That's very violent. I like your battle cat up there. Let's change the topic because I just noticed.
Yeah, no one is oil checking Battle Cat.
or
Although,
or
if they
nobody would
did, it
enjoy
probably
the
would
battle
change
cat
him into
all checking
Cringer.
you. Oh, oh man. It's Skeletor. I love that. I love in Nick's video, like Nick showed his action figures, and now we have like a trinity of like showcasing our action figures on the channel. It's awesome. That's what Martial Geeks are all about. We're all fucking nerds.
Exactly. Yeah. My
Yeah, I still
dude,
haven't
I had
reviewed
an
the
angle
Optimus
grinder.
Prime.
My dude, I had an angle grinder with a wire brush fitting slip. Had so many cuts on my hand, so much
Oh,
blood, there's so many minor. Oh,
fuck
I bet
that.
it stung for a long
Nope.
time afterwards. Right,
Nope.
anyway, we've been talking for nearly a football game.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think
Holy
I'm
shit.
gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna bow out at this point. Have you got anything else you want to round off, seeing as it's your video?
Well, I got to review my Optimus Prime figure that I promised like 7 months ago or something. So I'm gonna do
Yes,
that.
definitely.
And outside of that, I'm not gonna be nice to Misner people anymore. I think maybe if they're
No, they
good.
don't deserve it.
Nah.
Yeah,
And
well,
yeah, nothing much more to say. If you have closing words, you can.
I was gonna say we need to try and figure out how we can do this like a free man, like kind of.
Yeah, we're gonna. I
There
was
must be
thinking
like
the same thing.
something online we can do, and then we can upload it.
I think like when I was playing chess with Jerry, like from Fight Commentary, he invited
Yeah,
me to like a page called Super Peer. And at that time, didn't have my laptop. I think it has to be done on PC. But
all
I
right.
it's a streaming thing, and I think you can have more than 2 people on it.
Yeah,
Uh, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll check because maybe it's possible in YouTube too. Like we've never tried that, but I've
yes, true.
seen people do that. But it might not be on YouTube. It might be a streaming service, but you can stream it on YouTube. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have to give it a go because that'd be quite
if
interesting. I
we
think
gotta
that'd be
figure out
good.
a game that we can play. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
give the bullshido martial art, and then we have to like give clues and oh, it's Adam Misner. No, it's Steven Seagal. That'd be fun.
Yes, George Stillman. Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I'll catch you all soon.
Yeah.
Bad out. Cheers. See you
Great,
later.
great. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. That's it for today.